Hey y'all, this is Talk Safety to Me, Safety Talk with Apostle Erica Monet Glenn, and this is going to be day 72 of Talk Safety to Me. So what I want to discuss today is actually connected to, if I'm not mistaken, his name is Nolan Wells, okay, the gentleman that was found deceased, in Mississippi. If I'm not mistaken, he was 17 or 18 years old. Basically our friends, if I'm not mistaken, it was 3 male friends who were Caucasian. He was the only black. They went on a boat ride, different things of this nature. They went to an island. I can't think of the name of the island in particular, but basically they went to the island. I guess they got off, or he got off the boat. They said he didn't want to get back on the boat, left him on the island, said he wanted to stay on the island to chat with a girl, and then just mysteriously they came back. They were able to make it back to the base and everything, or back to the destination safe and sound. But 2 days later he was found deceased. Okay, so this is an ongoing case. I know his family got attorneys involved, lawyers involved, the FBI is involved, different things of that nature. So the Lord wanted to place it on my spirit to not only mention this, and then we even got the young lady who talks to the kids, what's her name, Rachel, Miss Rachel, meaning God is having people that you don't typically hear talk about things like this coming out to speak about it. So there's a problem, and you're gonna hear from me, Apostle Erica Monet Glenn. I firmly believe, okay, I'm saying this in confidence, pure confidence, and even the sun is getting brighter as I say this. I know for a fact this was not accidental, meaning the boy was murdered, the young man was killed, okay? So foul play took place. That's exactly what I'm saying, okay? So another reason why God wants me to talk about this, it makes me kind of think about what my mom used to tell my older brother when we were growing up, okay? She always used to tell him, like, I know you want friends and everything, but everybody's not your friend. And it's a reason why I'm mentioning this, because you could go in the news, you could go on Google, and you could look up all these cases, and you hear about teenagers being killed, guess what? By their friends. You hear about teenagers going to a party, going out of town with their friends, even if they're young adults, and guess what? The friends return either back to the country, if they were to take a vacation out of the country, or back to the city or state, wherever they're from, and mysteriously someone's child is deceased. Someone's child is found dead. Someone's child has said, oh, well, they had an accident and they went to a hospital where we were, and then the family finds out, oh, I'm sorry to inform you, your child didn't make it. It kind of makes me think of the young lady, I can't think of her name, and then I want y'all to do your own homework. This young lady, if I'm not mistaken, she went to Cancun, Mexico with some friends not too long ago. I think they were in their early 20s. The young lady was in her early 20s, and the thing is, she went out of town with friends that she had, meaning her mom, okay, knew these friends. So it wasn't like a newsflash to her mom, like, okay, who was these people? You just met them like a week ago. So she knew these people. They flew to Cancun, Mexico, okay? So at first it was some females. It was her and some other girls that flew to Cancun. And then later on they found out, meaning the authorities found out, that some male friends arrived. I think they said one guy who was there was homosexual, and then 2 other guys showed up who was heterosexual, okay? Meaning they're interested in the opposite sex. So she recorded, like, she went live. I remember they uploaded on social media. She went live, and I think they were staying in an Airbnb, and all her friends, including the males, were in another room, another part of the house. So she's on live saying she's going around looking for a friend. She's like, I don't know where they at. You could just feel based on the video, you could feel in your spirit something was off. So she was like, I don't know where they at, and then she walks in the room, and then their whole demeanor changed. Like, you can see some of the people faces, expressions change. They changed the topic, and they were kind of dry with her, especially this one particular female. And not just the one particular female, but the main one who they said threw the blows, because they did get into physical altercation. So they end up starting to fight this girl. So the girl, they said, based on what was told to the news and to her family, is that she got in a fight with 2 other people, okay, and these were females, and they're fighting, and then they're boom, 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 and somehow, I guess the last blow, and then one of the males, who was, I think, the homosexual in the group, was recording the whole ordeal. So based on that, she's not even fighting back. So something's off, okay? So they're beating her up and everything, and then it's just like, she more than likely had a blow to the head or something that took her out. So they said she ended up going to a hospital in Cancun, Mexico, and based on the death, they said it was something about trauma to the head, different things of that nature. But at the end of the day, whether self-defense or not, she was ganged up on, and that's considered murder, okay? So I say all this to say, it's just because you know someone, just because you know your children's friends, you know their family, you know their parents, that doesn't mean anything, because kids fall out, young adults fall out. Because with this situation, now I know, God, especially when our like start doing my research on the case, I felt in my spirit, I'm like, no, they had an altercation. There's no way in heck this girl went to Cancun, Mexico with these people and they were all on good terms. I'm like, no, that's a problem we have in the, I'm not gonna just say the United States, but it's people in general. Y'all ignore red flags. Y'all be like, oh, well, you know, things fell off, we fell off and everything, but hey, they invited me on a trip, so maybe things are fine. Oh, yeah, we fell out because of a man, or we fell out because of a girl, but, oh, they just invited me out to the bar, or they just invited me out to, you know, go on a boat trip. They just invited me out to, you know, take a road trip with them and everything. So, you know, maybe things are fine then. Maybe we could hash it. Maybe, you know, our friendship could be, you know, replenished. Look here, just because even if you had a conversation like this and y'all talk it out doesn't mean psychologically, so I'm not saying go around being paranoid. I'm not saying go around and say, well, I can't believe this person, they said that they forgave me. Caught it. They said they forgave me. Yep, that's confirmation. Hold on, y'all. You know, we keep the bloopers over here. Hold on, let me get this fixed. All right, boom. So they say that, you know, we hash things out. So that means, you know, they forgave me or forgave them. That doesn't mean anything. Okay? So this is me warning you and saying use wisdom. If you just had a falling out with someone, and you, a lot of y'all already know this person. You know that when they fall off with somebody, they don't quickly forgive, or they, you know, they told you some stories. So a lot of y'all know these people, how they are. They'll come to you and say, oh yeah, this person tried to, you know, hash things with me, and I told them I forgave them, but oh no, I didn't forgive them. So I'm gonna, you know, I gotta get my get back. Some of y'all you're probably trying to wonder, get an understanding as to what I mean by that. Get your get back, meaning they want revenge. Even if you apologize, they still want to have revenge. They still want to, you know, get the last lick. They still want to, you know, do their part so they can feel better about themselves or feel better about the situation. Like, hey, I'm just gonna hold it because I don't got time for Satan trying to block this message. So basically, they be like, oh, I gotta get my part out. I gotta get the last lick. So even though I say, you know, I forgave you, oh, I gotta do something. Yeah, and that's something else that they do too. That's how they get you in. They want you to let your guard down by saying, hey, yeah, I forgive you. And when you least expect it, boom, that's when they come in for the hit. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Just because somebody's saying, hey, things are cool with us, why in the hell do you think it's a good idea? Okay, and no shade to the people that's no longer here, because unfortunately, a lot of these people are dead. And I'm doing this video right now, guess what? In front of a cemetery. How symbolic. But again, a lot of these people are dead, but you're not dead. So, okay, look here. If someone says, hey, I forgave you, why do you think it's a good idea to be like, okay, now all of a sudden we about to go out of town? Okay, we can think about, thank you, Holy Ghost, fatal attraction, somebody who's married, somebody who was caught cheating or whatever the case may be, or you know something's off with your marriage and everything, and then all of a sudden they be like, hey, you know, I want to plan a camping trip. Like, I understand, I get it, y'all. How cliche, right? We hear about that in Lifetime movies, but this stuff is real life. All of a sudden, they want to go out of town. They want to take you into the wilderness. It's not funny, but like, all right, look, yeah, we about to go to a cabin, just you and I. And nah, I'm good. I'm good. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, use your gut. Like, listen to the discernment. Like, a lot of y'all don't want to say discernment. Y'all say the gut feeling. Stop ignoring the red flags. Okay, if the person said they want to work something out, be like, you know what, why can't we just go somewhere, you know, go out of town somewhere, like, a lot of y'all like Vegas, let's go to Vegas, let's go to, you know, Texas, let's go to Florida, get a hotel and go to Disney World. Like, come on now. No, don't let nobody take you to somewhere where it's not a lot of people. Come, this young man is no longer here, and they took him to a freaking island. And even if they didn't have a falling out, there is a such thing as jealousy and envy. When a person is filled with jealousy and enviness, guess what? They're willing to do anything. Okay, because guess what? Satan is jealous. Satan is envious, because remember, that's how he got kicked out of heaven. He wanted to be better than God. He wanted what God had and much more than that. He's jealous of everything he cannot have. Duh. So if you say Satan is your daddy, you're just like him, okay? You're just like him, and I'm here to call y'all out. See, even the wind is... I love my commentary, but I'm telling y'all the truth. So it's just like, think about it. So if a person is showing you that they're jealous and envious, and then even if they're your best buddy, your best friend, and you notice that they're always talking about somebody, and you can feel in your spirit or in your gut feeling, you got a gut feeling, you be like, wait a minute, I know my friend is always talking about somebody, but at the end of the day, I'm starting to realize that my friend is a jealous person. Again, people that are filled with jealousy and enviness, they're willing to do anything to get their way. Remember, somebody that's jealous wants what you have. Someone that's envious, they don't want what you have, and they don't want you to have it. But either way, both of them are bad. Okay? So again, this young man, I'm looking, not only was he killed, not only was he murdered, but I know for a fact, jealousy and enviness was part of it. Because remember, he stayed on an island and talked to a young girl. If I'm not mistaken, a young lady, I don't know why God has put Emmett Till in my spirit. I don't know why. Mississippi, he's African American. The 3 boys he was with was Caucasian. The girl he was on the island with was Caucasian. Who's to say that, wait a minute, she into him and not me? I'm just saying. And then all of a sudden, then it's just different things. And look here, I don't care who's mad when I say this. I'm the type of person, you know how they say innocent until proven guilty? I'm saying, I'm the type of person, I say, you're guilty until you prove it innocent. Meaning, I'm looking at everybody. Because it's like, before, believe it or not, listen to what I'm saying. Just hear me out. When God put it on my spirit, because I was constantly seeing this case, and anytime God is constantly putting a case on my spirit or in front of me, it's something he needs me to see, okay? Because again, I'm not involved with every case across the world. Again, just because you hear about a case doesn't mean you're involved with every case. But there's certain ones that God will place on my radar, and this is one of them. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm like, how do we know his family or his I'm like, I didn't say, how can I put it? I was telling God, I was like, Lord, I pray to God that his mom and dad is not a part of it somehow. I'm just being honest. I pray to God they're not part of it. And then days later, here they are in the media, basically being said that they stated that the boy who was saying he was their son's best friend, they don't know anything of him. That they weren't best friends. And then the boy, his so-called best friend, is feeling some type of way, like, why are they lying, saying that I'm not their son's best friend, I knew him since 9th grade. So I'm just saying, I would say this happened 2 days, maybe a day or two after I had that conversation with God, and then all of a sudden now people are looking sideways, like, why would his mom and dad lie about that? Why would his mom and dad say that, hey, no, that's not my son's best friend? And why would the boy lie about that? And I'm just saying, like, just bringing that attention to both of them, it literally feels like when somebody's about to be thrown under the bus. When somebody, is trying to clean house, meaning, clean up loose ends. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So it's one of those things like, who is the media quick to, I'm just saying, like, let's just say all 3 of them are guilty. The mom, the dad, and that so-called best friend. Who do you think would go on the side and say that the boy is guilty because he was with him? Or that was his best friend, he had something to do with it? Or do you think they would say it was the mom and dad? Who do you think they would go jump on that bandwagon? More than likely, people would side with the parents saying, no, something ain't right with his friend. Why would his friend say that they were best friends and his parents are saying they weren't? So he lying about that. It's like he's trying to make things up to try to keep, you see what I'm saying? So it's so easy for a young man to take the blame or to take the fall for something that he possibly didn't do or had anything to do, to be connected with, or is connected to it, but to actually commit the crime, but he is still guilty. And now they were like, we can pin it on you, because guess what, you could do less time. And I always tell people, you know how they say take one for the team, right? One of the things I've learned in life, especially with the hats that I wear, when it comes out to a child, a young adult, or just a person who's never been in jail, depending on the situation, majority of them tend to get a slap on the wrist. Catch what I'm saying? Tend to get a slap on the wrist. I'm gonna leave it at that. All right? And then, oh, you're so young. He's so young. If he was to go to jail, he'd probably go for a few years, and he still get his time to live life. He'll still have some youth left over. He would still have time to, so he should take the fall. Whereas if it's the boy's parents, I think Nolan Wells is his name. Whereas if it was his parents that was guilty, I mean, they up in age already. Are y'all following what I'm saying? So it's so easy for someone to be like, hey, better young than old, right? The devil is a liar. So I'm the type of person, when it comes down to stuff like this, I like to get people to think outside the box. And then not only that, I want to make sure I put this out in the atmosphere. They need to test them, and I'm definitely going to talk to who I need to talk to about testing him for things that they have that can't be detected unless you test for it. Because a lot of times people are like, okay, the test for the alcohol, test for drugs. Guess what? There's certain things, y'all may not know this, there are certain things that cannot be detected when someone is going through an autopsy. You have to specifically use a certain test to detect whether or not it's in someone's bloodstream. Certain things are removed from someone's bloodstream. Remember, they found him 2 days later. Are you following what I'm saying? The question is, did they look to see if he was injected with anything? Do they see any marks from a syringe needle? That's what I'm saying. Like, these are the things, like, you got to investigate everything. And remember, some stuff is not being shared. Some people, unfortunately, everybody is not operating in integrity. Some people can get paid under the table. Some people is like, oh, well, we could just, treat it a certain way. I'm pretty sure the boy just drowned. He got out the water, like, he was in a boat, and he was with the girl. He probably tried to impress the girl and was like, all right, I got to go. I changed my mind. I'm about to go to the boat. So he tried to swim to the boat and drown. Look here, like, they can make up the story, but come on now, really? Are you serious? But if I'm not mistaken, the girl said that he left with his friends. Friends said, no, he stayed on the island with the girl. They left. And then you hear them calling saying something's going on with the boat. Then she said, no, he never stayed. He actually got on the boat and went back with his friends. Somebody can't get their story straight. And I'm saying this right now on this video, this live news broadcast for me, is this confusion, all this stuff that's going on is not a coincidence. I know for a fact Nolan Wells is making sure that this confusion is taking place, so it shows that there was a foul play taking place. Because believe me, if he drowned, none of this would still be going on right now. If it was literally a genuine accidental death, he really drowned, there's no reason all this would be going on right now. The boy was killed. You hear that, Win? So this confusion, because remember, God is not the author of confusion, meaning God is not in it. God was not in his death. So let Nolan Wells continue to get his justice and continue to fight from his grave, because you read about it in the Bible, Cain and Abel, man. So those of you, I don't believe, well, read the Bible. You claim you're a believer, right? So are you just operating in religion? You just walking around with a religious spirit on you, and you don't really take the word for what it is? Because the Bible talks about that. Cain and Abel, read about it. I'm just saying. So again, God is not the author of confusion. You see how the son to Gabriel, I'm not lying to y'all, Nolan Wells is making sure that they can't get their story straight. And he's doing that from the grave. That's power. And he's making sure, like, people like me and other people are coming out that have gifts, that have ways to reach people and bring things to the forefront that people, typically miss. Because it's like with the case, ideally, that's the first thing when you deal with a case like this, people are going to talk about the things that people typically normally talk about, like, oh, he was drunk, he couldn't swim, he drowned. But people don't want to talk about the spiritual aspect of it, and how there's confusion, and how everybody can't get their story straight. That is not a coincidence. Not a coincidence at all. And like I said, I know we live in a world where people say innocent until proven guilty. Well, with Apostle Erica Monique Glenn, no. Everybody's guilty until proven innocent. If they don't, I got my eyes on y'all. All right, y'all, this is, again, Talk Safety to be Safety Talk with Apostle Erica Monique Glenn. Family and friends, make sure, especially parents, make sure you are aware who your children are hanging around. Remember, everybody's not their friend, just like everybody's not your friend. All right, because y'all be so quick. Oh, yeah, we had in the falling now, but I'm just saying, being so quick to go out of town, or, you feel something off with a person, and they're adamant of getting you away from, safety, getting you away from your community, getting you away from home, take you somewhere that's unknown. If something ain't right in your spirit, don't go. That's all I got to say. Operate in wisdom and pray and ask God for more wisdom. And if you are the predator, meaning you're actually trying to plot against somebody right now, shame on you. And I pray that, and I declare and decree that this video is going to make it to those individuals, and they're going to decline the invitation. They ain't going nowhere with you. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Declined. Denied. Invitation not accepted. No RSVPs for you. All right. Again, this is Talk Safety to Me, Safety Talk with Apostle Erica Money Glenn. Day 72. Y'all have a blessed Wednesday. Take care.